What's up, y'all? It's Chris here to give some afterthoughts on Devon Alexander versus Juan Urango, and of course WEC 47. First up, Devon Alexander, Juan Urango fight last night on HBO. You know, Alexander was doing what I thought he would do for the first half of the fight, just a lot faster with the hand speed, with the footwork, just outboxing Urango. Urango, man, that guy does he even really throw too many jabs? When you're the type of fighter he is, kind of more of a power puncher, pressure fighter. You can't just come in with weak hooks and, not weak hooks, but with the hooks and stuff. You got to have a jab. Otherwise, you're not going to gain any ground on Alexander. And he really didn't gain too much, although more towards the middle rounds of the fight, he kind of did because Alexander was standing his ground more and trading. But if Alexander wanted to stay on his bicycle and just box circles around him all night, he could have. Fortunately for Alexander and the fans, he decided not to do that. Urango landed a few shots here and there, a few of those big hooks. Started going to the body more in the 5th and the 6th round, which is something I think he should have done earlier, or at least attempted to. But Alexander, there's a reason why he wasn't able to. Alexander just wasn't letting him get close. But anyways, 8th round, Alexander's outboxing him as usual, and he ends up catching Urango with a huge uppercut out of nowhere. I mean, this uppercut it looked like something you'd see in a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out or a video game. Lifted Urango off his feet. Unbelievable. And the thing is, Alexander's not known for having a lot of power. That was all just about speed, technique, knowing what your man's going to do. He actually caught Urango with a punch like that in the first round. It wasn't nearly as hard of a punch, obviously, because it didn't have that kind of effect. But he caught him with that punch in the first round. He caught him throughout. He saw that Urango was going to come forward. He moves in with his head down, chin down, and set it up beautifully. And I'm surprised Urango got up from that because, just the way his body reacted when he went up and then down, and the look on his face. But credit to Urango, the kid just got hard. He showed in the Bailey fight, his last fight. Got up, went after Alexander again. He didn't even try to hold or try to fight safe. He went after Alexander, but that was to his detriment because Alexander nailed him with a right, I believe, on the top of the ear, right above the ear, and then finished him off with another uppercut. More of a glancing blow. He was kind of more hurt from the first punch, and Urango got up, beat the count, but the ref waved it off. Could be argued it's a premature stoppage. I don't know. In all honesty, he looked like he was kind of out of it. I think Alexander probably would have finished him off if the ref would have allowed him the opportunity. So no complaints there for me. Great performance by Alexander, though. Showed not only does he have skills, speed, good technique, he's also got some power in those hands if he catches you right. So unified titles at 140, so he's got 2 belts there. Definitely made a case for himself to be the top 140-pounder aside next to Tim Bradley. As for what's next to him, Zab Judah came into the ring after during a post-fight press conference or post-fight interview with Max Kellerman. Trying to get a spot in there, trying to say he wants to fight him, he deserves to fight, whatever. Zab Judah doesn't deserve to fight. He hasn't been fighting at 140. First of all, he's been fighting at welterweight. He should have stayed at junior welterweight his whole career. Aside from beating Spinks, he never really did much at welterweight, in all honesty. But he doesn't deserve the fight. It could be made. It could be an interesting fight. I'd probably favor Alexander at this point. But Judah just doesn't deserve it. I'd much rather see Timothy Bradley and Devon Alexander unify titles and fight to find out who is the best man at 140. So hopefully that fight will happen. We all know Tim Bradley said he'll fight anyone with the division. Alexander said he's down to fight Timothy Bradley. So hopefully promotions, networks, managers don't get in the way and that fight can happen. Anyways, but a good performance by Alexander, man. Moving on. WEC 47. Good event. Not a surprise. WEC always has good event. The only bad thing is the commercial breaks and stuff, It takes a long time to get certain fights or to get in between fights. There's a lot of dead time, like 20, 30 minutes almost, it seems like. Too much dead time. That's a good thing about them going to pay-per-view, I guess. But anyways, first fight of the night we had was, I think it was Bart Palachevsky versus Karin Darabidian. Darabidian put Palachevsky down, was working him over with the ground and pound. Pretty, not brutal, but he was hammering him. He definitely had Palachevsky on the defensive, was hitting a lot of good punches. Palachevsky was definitely at the worst end of it, but Darabidian got over-aggressive. Palachevsky caught him with an armbar and tapped him out. I saw someone I believe it was on Twitter, someone left a message that there's a difference between an experienced fighter and a younger fighter. Darabidian was too anxious to get a finish rather than to just, fight, not safe, but, not get over-aggressive. And Palachevsky, the veteran, caught him. So I'm not sure who wrote that comment, but a good observation, and that's the case, But Palachevsky looked good. Darabidian looked good until he got caught, so I'm sure we'll see him back. And good win for Palczewski. He needed a definitive win in the WEC after his last couple fights. Next up, we had Davidis Terevicius against LC Davis. Not the most exciting fight. A lot of it was in the clinch against the cage, working it very reminiscent to Ren Couture versus Brandon Vera. Although they were a lot more active in the clinch. These fighters, they were switching positions and they kept switching up on each other. The referee in this fight sucked. They were working on the cage. It wasn't like they were just stalling out like Couture Vera. They were actually going to work and fighting for positioning and whatnot. But the ref kept saying, work or I'm going to separate you. Work or I'm going to separate you. This ref sucked. Pretty much a stalemate for the most of the fight. LC Davis did get the better of it here and there with some elbows off the cage, off the fence, some sharp elbows to Terevicius' head and stuff, and takedowns and whatnot. Not the most definitive win, but LC Davis gets a decision, deservedly so. The referee standing the fighters up late and another time in the fight. It's just idiotic, dude. This referee, I don't remember his name, but he sucked. He was the worst. He's one of the worst refs. I just hate when you see a ref that doesn't really he panders to the crowd. The crowd starts booing, and then all of a sudden they who cares the hell what the crowd thinks, Let the fighters fight. Unless it's an absolute dead standstill, nothing's happening, they're not improving positioning. But anyways, moving on. Jens Pover, Javier Vasquez. Jens, his last hurrah in the WEC, no doubt. I don't know if it's going to be his last fight or not. But either way, Javier Vasquez, this fight pretty much went how I thought it would. Javier just wanted to get it down, and once he did, he dominated Jens on the mat. Javier's got some serious jiu-jitsu credentials and skills, and he proved it here. He was all over Jens. Jens was able to sweep him a couple times and escape on the mat, but Javier was just able to re-get him back in his game. Ended up finishing him off with an armbar from top position. Really good armbar, in all honesty. Jens, you could tell he didn't want to tap. Jens Pulver's not wanting to tap out real quick, but he was in a serious bad position and had to tap. Looked like he may even had his arm damaged in the hold. I don't know. But either way, good win for Javier Vasquez. He needed after those 2 split decision losses in his last 2 fights. Jens, great speech afterwards. Very emotional speech. Definitely had the fans are rooting for him as usual. Like I said, I don't know if he's going to return. I think he should. I think his best days are far behind him. He's lost like 7 of 8 or 8 of 9. Love to see him commentating in the WEC, color commentary for the fights. But, if this is the last fight, thanks for all the good fights and all the good memories. And, good career. Won a UFC title, Not a lot of fighters can say they did that. Moving on, I believe we had the Scott Jorgensen, Chad George fight here. Don't hold me to that. George shot for a takedown. Jorgensen caught him in a 10-finger guillotine choke. Picked him up, carried him to the fence, and lifted his ass off the ground. I mean, unbelievable. Brutal strength by Jorgensen and a great technique. George has to tap out. Jorgensen gets an easy win. May get a title shot next. We'll see. Don't know what order these fights were in. I'm going to say Miguel Torres, Joseph Benavidez was next. I expected Miguel to win this fight, come back after the Bulls loss. But Benavidez, training with Team Alpha Male, Uriah Faber, showed a good game plan and good fight, Striking in the first round is pretty much even, but Benavidez got a takedown, uses better wrestling. I thought Benavidez got the first round. Miguel just wasn't as aggressive as he normally is. He just didn't look himself, not the same fighter that I'm used to seeing out of Miguel Torres. Second round, Benavidez shoots him for a quick takedown, gets it, lands a brutal cut that opened elbow that opened up just a nasty cut on Miguel. Miguel was bleeding everywhere. The fighters separated. Actually, Miguel went for an armbar. Joseph jumped out. Miguel tried to get up or go for a takedown or something, and Benavidez caught him in a guillotine, just a seriously deep guillotine. Miguel Torres had no alternative either to tap or pass out. He tapped. Great win for Joseph Benavidez coming off a loss. Really good big win. Sucks for Miguel Torres. I don't know what's going to be next for him. It's going to take a while for that cut heel. I saw a picture on Twitter he posted. Man, that thing is nasty. So he's going to be out for a while, but hopefully he can come back and get back to his winning ways. But as for Benavidez, I don't think he'll get the title shot next because he just lost to the now champion. But another big win, he'll be right back in the mix for that championship. Lastly, Devon Alexander, man, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Dominic Cruz, Brian Bowles for the bantamweight title. Supposedly Bowles broke his hand on the first punch of the night. Go look on Twitter once again. Brian Bowles posted a picture of his hand, pretty swelled up. No matter, man. Dominic Cruz was dominating this fight. Actually, real quick, Anthony Pettis gets a head kick KO on Danny Castillo. Brutal knockout. Kicked him in the head, knocked him down, and the ref wasn't in position. And landed some more punches while Castillo was down. So good win for Pettis. Look forward to seeing him, young fighter. Back to Cruz, Bowles. Man, Cruz was all over the place. I've never seen such crazy foot movement. He reminded me, if you ever seen Jersey Shore, when that guy Ronnie be dancing in the club on Jersey Shore. That's what Cruz's footwork looked like, but it was effective. Bulls could never really find a good range on him. Cruz was all over the place, switching stances, landing punches, landing kicks, landing a lot of good lead left kicks. Just had Bulls all sorts of confused, and ended up, after the second round, Bulls, I guess the hand is what had the fight stopped, the broken hand. Didn't want to continue on. Either way, Dominic Cruz was cruising. He was definitely winning that fight, getting the better of it. It looked like it was just going to play out pretty much the same for the next 5 rounds. You never know what's going to happen, but Dominic was definitely in control. Big win for Dominic Cruz. Now the WEC Bantamweight champion. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets Scott Jorgensen next. That's a match I'd like to see, but either way, good fight. Great performance by Dominic Cruz. Be sure and check out the website, thewillbebloodfighter.com, leaveitinthering.com. My Twitter if you're interested. Put the links to information part as always. I'm out. Till next time. Later.